Hello my crafty friends, it's Beverly here over at Crafting Chaos, and I'm here with another video for newer users of Canvas at Workspace software, and today I'm using the online version. What I'm going to be doing today is showing you how to make a basic card blank for your crafting needs that you can size to any size you wish, and then I'm also going to show you how you might want to add an aperture or something else to that aperture. So let's get started. Okay, so now I'm in Canvas and I'm just going to bring on a basic shape, and I'm going to bring on a rectangle. Now, whatever the height of your card is, you need to make sure that you change the height and width according to what you need it to be. So you need to think what the finished height wants to be and what the finished width will need to be, accounting for the fact that it's going to be scored down the middle. So if you wanted to make a 5x5 card, you would need to make it 5 inches I think it's actually 10 inches in this direction, and uncheck the maintain the aspect ratio and make it 5 inches that way. Okay, now if it's coming up, it's not as obvious which way it's coming into me. The dimensions are not as easy for me to follow on this. I can never work out whether this bit's going to be this bit or this bit, but it doesn't matter because I can always just rotate it by 90 degrees to get it in the orientation that I want. So what I'm going to do now is I've brought on a card that when it's scored down the middle will be a 5x5 card. So next I'm going to put in the score line. So I'm going to start by clicking on the path tool, and then I'm going to click on my shape, drag across holding my shift key down to make sure it comes out as a straight line, and double click to anchor. Then all I'm going to do is select both, and I'm going to line them up to the middle like so. Then I'm going to zoom in, because at the minute that would just cut your card in half, and I'm going to get my selection tool and go and click on that centre line. Now if it won't let you, that means the rectangle's on top, so you need to send it to the bottom. So then we should be able to click on the score line. So I'm just trying again. And again, I'm not quite getting the score line. So I think again that's on the top. So I'm going to make sure it goes to the bottom, and we'll try once more. We'll try view fit to mat and see what's happening. So I'm going to just put some colour so we can see what's happening, because it's difficult to see in the canvas one which is on top. Now it looks to me actually like that one is at the back, so I'm going to zoom right in so I can get right up to that line, and I'm going to get on my selection tool, click off, and then I'm going to click the line. Now as you can see, because I've gone right in, it has actually just overshot the edge of the card a little bit, so I'm going to drag that down. Not quite so much, and I've just moved it now. So I'm going to edit undo and edit undo, and I'm going to do that step again. And if you do make a mistake, remember the undo function is your friend. So then I'm going to click on the properties box, and I'm going to make it a cutting line but then a perforating line, so that that line will perforate rather than cut right through the card. So then I'm going to view, fit to mat, and now if we just zoom in a little bit so you can see, we've got that score line exactly where you need it to be. Now I'm going to now show you how you could put an aperture into that card. Now in order to make sure that it's going to fit directly in the middle, I'm going to just bring on a square, and I'm going to open the properties box, and I'm going to make it the aspect ratio, and I'm going to make it 5x5 inches and say OK, like so. Then I'm going to go view fit to mat. So now I've got a square that's exactly the same size as half of the one that we've got. And I'm just going to temporarily group those two so that this one can move and I can move this one to line them up. So I'm going to select both and I'm going to line up to the left, sorry, the right, and then to the top. So now what I've got is effectively, I'm just going to send that to the back so that our square is on top. And if we make that a different colour so we can see, you can see that that square is now on top. So if you wanted to put in an aperture, and let's say for example, you could choose any shape for your aperture, but let's say you wanted to put on a octagon. I've just selected that shape, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to select this one and I'm going to line it up centrally and vertically to the square underneath. And then I'm going to select both of those and I'm going to edit and process the overlap and subtract. And that's what we're going to do underneath in a second. So I'm just going to undo that because I've just done it to the one that I didn't want to do. So again, I'm going to select both, group them, and I'm going to line them up to the left and to the top. And then I'm going to click on this one and I'm going to ungroup. Then I'm going to click on that part. I'm going to click on here, and it's important that you ungroup this bit now before you do this next step. And click on the rectangle and the hexagon, process the overlap and subtract. And what you've done now is you've made, and if I just send that to the back, it's not, my perforating line still there, but my hexagon aperture is right in the middle of that part of the card. So that's what you could do to create an aperture card or a basic base card. Now, what you could do if you wanted is actually put something in the window itself that you've just created. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on logo, and this just has sentiments that you can use just as they are. So it's not anything that you have to create. They're already available within the Canvas software. So I've just gone on logo and I've just selected this for you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink it down so I can manipulate this now any way I wish so that it will fit in the aperture window. So I'm just making it, I'm just playing around with the size so that we can get it so that it's overlapping the window of the base card. And when I'm happy with where I think it's overlapping, I will then, just bear with, I just want to get it so that you can see, and you can do and mess around with this as much as you like, but once I get to a point where I think it's going to work, I'm going to stop, and I'm going to again just select those two, and then I'm going to go on edit and weld this time. So now what you've got is for you, and if we just flood that with colour, you can see we've got a card that's got for you within an aperture. And if you're not happy with the placement, you can always undo and readjust, because I wasn't quite happy with that one, and you can weld it again until you get it to a position where you're happy with the position of the words. So it's entirely up to you. The world's your oyster, if you will. You can pick and choose from what's already there, and as you get more familiar with how to make your own sentiments, you can actually bring your own sentiments in there. And what you could do if you wanted is do a duplicate of the for you. So if we do D on my keyboard, and then I can select the for you and the card again, hit weld, and that will weld it together. So now we've got that in the base card. And I'm just going to send this to the back so that we can see our score line still there. Now I know that we've finished with that part, I'm going to group those together so that my score line's not going to move if I accidentally move this card. And then what you can do is then, you could actually make a matting layer for on top of your card that you've just made by cutting this out, and then if we bring this up to the top, what you could do then is cut that out in a different colour, and although it's matted through, and if you really wanted to, you could also go on edit, create an offset line, and you want it to go inwards, and we're going to take it down to about 0.12 inches, and we're going to do, leave as is and say OK. So we're going to do that now, and it's gone in a little bit too far, so I'm going to edit undo. If that happens, don't worry, you can always edit and undo. So edit, we'll try once more. It might be that we're just a little bit too, we'll try 0.4 inches inwards, and we can see what that one's looking like now. And we can edit and ungroup it, and then we can select all these pieces that we want to be punched out and delete them. Oh, edit undo. Now if that happens, it means you need to punch them out of the layer underneath, so you need to select them, and you can select the big one and punch it out, and then if it don't look like they disappeared, just go send to the back. Now I'm going to try to do them multiple so that we don't have to keep doing the same operation. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So we'll try this now. Just got that one to get, and the back one, and we'll try edit and subtract. Now we've got a smaller version that you can mat on top of there, which will leave you a nice narrow border around in a different colour. So if we then zoom in, you'll see what I mean. You can fit that onto your aperture with a nice grey border going around. So the last thing that you want to do is make sure you're happy with your file, give it a name for you. I'm going to call it aperture card, and then you would save it, and that saves it into the cloud, and you can access that as your products. If you want, as your project, sorry. If you want to use it on your scan and cut, click on download, and you can either download to your PC or download to your scan and cut, whichever you wish to do. And now I'm just going to send it across to the scan and cut and say OK. So let me view and fit to the mat again. So this is the file we've created now. We've gone over how to create a basic card blank, how to put a scoring line in, how to add an aperture to your card, and how to weld a word into the aperture to add, and also how to add a layer for on top of the word. So I hope this has been helpful for you. Please like, share and subscribe if you've watched the video and enjoyed it. We'll be back soon with lesson 13, and I am in the background getting ready to do the next in the floral series, which I showed you a sneaky peek of a couple of weeks ago, but due to the illness obviously I've not actually quite got round to finishing that one yet, but that one will be coming. Alright, so I look forward to seeing you all soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.